Hey everybody, it's Angela and I am back with another process video, and this is a total stash dive video, and I just had some single sheets that I pulled out of my stash. This one's from Basic Gray and I'm going to use it as my background. This one I believe is a Cocoa Daisy, but I wind up changing it out for a Basic Gray piece of paper here in a little bit. And here are my photos. I have 3 of them. They're small, but I wanted to print all 3 of them on one sheet of photo paper in order to maximize that paper. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim those out. I have 2 horizontal ones and 1 vertical one. And then because they're small, I'm thinking, I need to beef them up, but give them a little more presence on the page. So I really liked this piece of paper. I think this is the pink paisley one, and it has these little clipboards on it, and I thought I would go ahead and use a clipboard to mount each of my photos, and then I want to use that other sentiment one that says capture the everyday, this one here, for my title. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull those out. Then I use the back side of that paper as just to make a little tiny border strip between my 2 pieces. So I'm just going to go ahead and fussy cut those out. And the pictures that I have there are from the farm, and I wanted to document the fact that we live pretty rough at the farm. We're pretty off-grid. We've slowly been getting more on-grid these last 2 years, but the left-hand photo there is a picture of our shower, and it's just a pallet outside with a shower curtain around it, some shower curtain and some Tyvek house wrap. And to the left of it is a tank, a big black water tank. And we were hoping that by putting the water in that tank, it would make the water warmer. The sun would warm it up in that black tank. But no, it was a pretty cold shower. And when you stepped out of that, even though you try to dry off inside the shower, as soon as you stepped out and the wind coming across the fields would hit you, it was freezing cold. Yeah. And a lot of times I would take a bucket of hot water with me that I'd heated up on the propane stove first, just in order to bathe somewhat, and then I'd use the water from the tank to kind of wash my hair and flip my hair over, just to stay a little bit warmer. It was better than, skinny dipping in the creek or whatever, but yeah, it was still pretty tough. And the photo to the right of the shower photo is our sink, which was just outside underneath an awning. You can see those 2 white tanks to the left of the sink. Those had clean drinking water in them, and so they would gravity feed into the sink. So there was no hot running water. It was just cold gravity fed water. So I wanted to document that, and it was outside. And then the photo on the far right is just our outhouse. We had a company that would come and service that, so that was how we were living, and it's pretty rough. We've since gotten hot water, and I have a flush toilet now, and I have hot water that comes to the sink. The sink is in our shop. It's not really in the house, so it's still freezing cold to wash dishes. You have to wash dishes while wearing a coat, and it's really hard to keep your coat sleeves out of the dishwater. But so I'm still doing that. I don't have running water in the kitchen, but it's getting better all the time. And so this was 2018. Most of this was going on, and then, like I said, we got a toilet, flush toilet, and hot water in 2019. We didn't have any insulation, so it was very cold through 2019. Sometimes our bedroom would be like 42 degrees. We had electric blanket though, because we had finally gotten electricity, and so it just keeps getting better. We don't have all of the house insulated yet, so it's still pretty cold, but it's getting close. So I'm hoping that 2020 is the year of insulation and getting our kitchen moved into the house area and getting a sink put put in that kitchen. That would be like my dream come true. Um, yeah, so now you guys can kind of see how I live. Um, yeah, so I thought I'd go ahead and document it because it's, it's been an adventure and it's not what everybody does. Um, so I just kind of want to remember these days, and it makes me very thankful and appreciative each time I get another modern convenience. So I really wanted to document that. Um, so I'm going through some more of the basic gray. These are some old fact and fiction cards. I have a lot of the fact and fiction line from when they closed that out. And so I'm just taking a few of those. And I'm going to cut off this orange strip out of this one about record this moment. I kind of like this today sucked because it was an adventure and I tried to, make the best of it and have a good attitude and just roll with it, but sometimes it still gets to you after a while of heating up water to wash dishes and, never getting your hair really very well rinsed out and having to go outside to go to the outhouse in the dark and the cold and the rain. And yeah, sometimes it sucked. So I wanted to document that too. So I thought I'd go ahead and use that card and make a secondary cluster down there on the bottom right. So I'm liking how this is coming along, but I wanted to get a lot more layers beneath there and use just a lot of little things. I don't want it to get too overwhelming, but I want it to have some detail. So I'm going to use this little sticker under here, and I thought I'd go ahead and use my tiny attacher for that and put a couple staples on each of the different cards just to have another texture and a little continuity. So I'm going to put 2 staples on that. I'm going to staple this other tab on there. I'm going to trim this little sentiment strip down just so it doesn't overlap my title and so that it shows that little top of the clipboard. I do want it to look like a clipboard and I didn't want to cover that up. And then that one, that little tab there is just like a post-it note. They have like a little post-it note pads that went with the fact and fiction line. So it'll take me forever to use a whole post-it note pad up, but I keep trying. So here is my little hoard of flare buttons because I love flare for some reason, and I don't see people using it very much anymore like they did a couple years ago. So I so love my flare, and I thought I'd just pull out, maybe first I thought about putting 3 of them and making a, kind of a triangle on there on my page, but I wind up just using one, which doesn't use very many up, but I mean, it's not a contest to use up supplies, but yeah, I didn't want it to get overwhelming, and 3 of them just look like a little bit too much on there. I like that paperclip one, and I'm trying to go with, this is a very clean style. It's kind of what I, in my mind, refer to as like an office supply style or an office style, because I'm using a lot of tabs and clipboards, and I use in here like a lined thing that looks like lined notebook paper and stuff like that, so it has kind of an office supply feel to it. And now I'm going through, this is a little bin of cut apart cards. I used to belong to Scraptastic probably about 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. And so I still have a lot of pieces of cards that I would get. And also if I use a paper pad that has a cut apart sheet in it, and a lot of times if I use a couple off of that, I'll cut up the rest and throw them in here. So I'm just looking through for things that have either wording that I like or colors that I like. And this, like I said, is a total stash dive kind of layout. It's pretty much all just old product, and it's fun to just kind of dig through and look at stuff and see stuff and use it in a different way. So I like that little tab. I'm going to put that at the bottom of the outhouse. I thought I'd put another layer down there in my secondary cluster. That's the tag that has the like notebook paper. And I didn't really need it to be a tag. I just kind of liked a little bit of notebook paper. So I go ahead and I just cut the top of the tag off and use it just so the notebook paper kind of shows. Then I also have this ticket that has some lines on it. And I think about putting that flare up near my title, to draw attention to the title, but I really kind of liked it down there in that secondary cluster. Now this card was looking a little plain, so I want to beef it up a little bit because it just has a white background where I've layered a lot on top of the other clipboards. And so at first I think about using this ticket, but that doesn't quite bring enough color in. So I wind up using one of the cards out of the little tag pad, this card here, and just using the green part of it to frame this card. And I just show a little bit of green around the edge of that. And then I go ahead and I glue everything together, and I'm going to skip forward just to save you from having to watch me glue everything. Now the clipboard with the title, I did put it up on some fun foam just to give that one a little lift, but the others are glued all directly down to the paper. And then I wanted to do one more texture on there, so I'm looking through my puffy stickers. First I think about using this little banner, but it wasn't quite long enough to span how I would like, and it was a little too kind of festive. So I decided to go through and keep looking. On this one I find a little yellow Polaroid camera that moves over, I think, to my title clipboard here later. Got that little speech bubble, I think, that says "Hey there" or something like that. We'd sit in the outhouse. We left the door propped open most of the summer because it'd get so hot in there. If it was just my husband and I, there was no one around. And when you sat in the outhouse, you actually had a view of the creek. So it was really pretty. It was just kind of scary to walk out there in the middle of the night because it's pitch black. So if it was dark or rainy and you had a flashlight walking out there, it was kind of spooky. So, yeah, and especially if you had watched any kind of scary movie or read a scary book or something, you don't want to do that when you have to use an outhouse in the middle of the night. It's pretty scary. So I just found a sun for that second clipboard and a little bird on that first one. So I'm just going to use some wood grain thickers just to put the year on there. This 2018 was the year without the running water or any hot water. 2019 was the year kind of without insulation. So like I said, 2020 I hope is going to just get even better. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those on because they're pretty old. They don't have much sticky left. So I go ahead and put that on, and that just again brings a little bit more weight to my title. Then I'm just going to put a little quick description on each of the clipboards as to what they are, what you're looking at in these photos. And then I do my journaling down on the card below. And then that is pretty much my completed layout, and it was really fun to do. I'm glad I journaled about this. It's been tough, but like I said, I've learned to appreciate things. I have a realm of comparison for things, and I know it's just going to keep getting better. And there's so many people in this world that have so much less. So I'm just very thankful for what we do have. And so this was a great thing to learn from. So I'm glad I got it documented for my farm scrapbook. And so now I'm going to do a few little close-ups here. Yeah, so this shows little puffy sticker bird that I went ahead and put on there, and it just says memories on that little sticker. That one's got a sun. It says documented. It's got a ticket below there. I just stapled on record this moment. Good stuff. Little Polaroid camera and the little hey, hello there. And just my journaling down below. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions or anything, just leave them down below, and I will see you guys again in the next video. Talk to you later. Bye.